Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Hello again and welcome to the program Agriculture on the Move. I am Phillip Sydney. In today's program, we will be reviewing the workings of the Black Sigatoka Management Unit in the Ministry of Agriculture, their successes and also challenges within that unit. Without further ado, I want to introduce you to Mr. Lucious Alexander, who is the technical coordinator attached to that unit. Welcome to the program, Mr. Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. Sydney.
Before we really get into the program, the meet-and-greet, I just want to ask you, tell the public, who is Lucious Alexander?
Well, most farmers and the agricultural public should know me. I have worked in the Ministry of Agriculture for quite a few years. And before I started working in the Research and Development Division, I spent some time in the St. Lucia College of Agriculture doing some lecturing. And I've spent most of my time doing research. I work with the coconut mite, and I've done a lot of work with mealybug. And I think we, the officers in the Ministry in Research and Development, were the officers who actually discovered the Black Sigatoka first in the island. So I've been with the unit since times of Biru in 2002, 2003. I'm back again now as the technical coordinator.
A lot of people don't know, but Mr. Alexander has a wealth of information, and though he looks simple there, but he has a lot of information, and we need to use people like Mr. Alexander for now and for many years to come. He's also involved in a number of other activities. I know him in the PAN Association. He's a PAN enthusiast. He's working for a number of youngsters, and I'm very pleased with his contribution as far as the PAN Association is concerned. Could you give us a little short history?
Well, I got involved in PAN a long time ago on my trips to St. Mary's. We used to pass in Conway, the Bernard Hill. That's where Scrub steel band was, and most of the youngsters got attached to the steel band. And I spent most of my time there. When I went to school in Trinidad, I also got extra enthusiasm. And when I came out of Trinidad it was I think in 2005, about 2005, the steel band fraternity and the movement had gone down a little bit. And I was instrumental in motivating the reinvigoration and the forming of the Steel Band Association, which has been surviving until now. So I have been involved in North Stars and Pan Exodus, and now I'm involved in another little steel band called Pan Ambassadors, mainly youth and school-going children.
Great. Good luck to you all.
Thanks.
Okay, Black Sigatoka Unit. I know you'll have had many challenges for the past year, 2013, and of course there are a number of success stories. Give us a brief overview of what 2013 has been to you all.
Well, as you know, the unit, as I mentioned, derived from the Bureau, which is a banana emergency recovery unit since 2003 or so. And then it morphed into the Banana Production Management Unit. During that period, I think the Black Sigatoka was not yet found in the island. So about 2010, early 2010, when we found the Black Sigatoka unit, I think there was a change in administration, and the project again morphed into the Black Sigatoka Emergency Project. And further on, a year or two later, now we're the Black Sigatoka project with Black Sigatoka Management Unit. The objective of this unit really is to kind of restore the public confidence and farmers' confidence into the banana industry. As you know, The industry has been undergoing some struggles since the removal of the preferential treatment and the banana price wars in Europe between these big banana companies, which pushed the prices very low and causing a lot of the small island states to struggle in getting a profit out of the industry. And a lot of them, I think that has contributed a lot to the demise of the industry, because farmers have found it not to be as profitable as it was before. And so a lot of them have started leaving industry. And then you also find that with the event of Black Sigatoka, which has put more strains on the production, has caused farmers to be more circumspect as to whether they get involved into the industry. So it is really our objective is to try and bring back that confidence into the farmers and confidence into the people, because banana is a staple crop in St. Lucia. Even though we do not export, we expect to get ripe bananas every day and green bananas. It is a staple. We do not have to put too many inputs into that crop so that we could get food for ourselves. So if we do not have bananas again, we might be dependent on rice and flour the rest of our lives. So it is very important for food security and for safety, and we look at it as it has a lot of future still. It is still commercial, it is still marketable, there's still a market for it in Europe and in many other niche markets. And we hope that we could keep up its sustenance in the country, because it is not something that we would like to live without. As you know, our national dish is green fig and saltfish. So if we have no more green fig, we'll have to change our national dish.
So you're saying something for Nina Compton?
Yes, Nina will have to come and give us some innovative recipes so that
Definitely.
we will promote our banana industry.
Great. I know, based on your involvement and working with the farmers, it has gotten some farmers to sustain their production and also to increase their production, and some more farmers have come back into production, and production have increased, I think, in 2013. Take us through that process.
Well, as it for banana is a business, or it is supposed to be a business. Before it was all over and people used to probably plant bananas as a hobby. But the people who are in bananas right now have recognized that is a business enterprise. It requires finance, it requires labor, it requires all the other inputs. So if you cannot afford or you have no access to these inputs, you'll get a problem to produce your crop. So, as I said, times have changed. All the oil, the increase in the oil prices have brought up the prices of all the inputs. All the banana companies are going through some financial struggle, and there are limitations in the amount of credit they could give. And as a farmer, you cannot take more credit than you're going to make or you can afford to pay back, as in life. So that has been a little hindrance to the farmers. And we want the farmers to understand that when you're going into a business, it's your life savings or your life interests. And so you'd have to be doing a lot of planning and looking at it on a very commercial basis. So the farmers who have remained in the industry right now are the most entrepreneurial and business-minded farmers that are there. You would see other farms around the place barely holding on to 1 farm, 1 acre, 2 acres. But in economics terms, there is something called economies of scale. You need to have a good size lot to get the full benefit. So if you have a 1 acre lot or half acre lot, the amount of money you're going to spend to produce, you'll not get that back. You need a certain acreage of land, a certain quantity of produce, so you could get your money back. So the farmers who have remained are farmers who have that amount of land and the resources, both financial, physical, and the mental business mindset, which is very important. Some people have the resources, but they do not have that business mindset to continue the business operations.
We are due for a break. We are going to be right back. You're watching Agriculture on the Move.
The Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board reminds all importers of such chemicals that according to the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Act, only chemicals which have been registered and granted approval by the board can be legally imported for use in St. Lucia. Agricultural and household chemicals that are not licensed for use in St. Lucia can be harmful to its users and the general public. Before placing orders, importers are advised to check the approved list of pesticides or household chemicals to ensure that they can be legally imported. An import license must be obtained from the Research and Development Division of the Ministry of Agriculture and must be submitted to the Customs and Excise Department to facilitate the clearance of the consignment. For further information, contact the Ministry of Agriculture's Research Division at Union or call telephone numbers 468-5600 or 468-5602.
Welcome back to the program, Agriculture on the Move. We are discussing the activities in the Black Sigatoka Management Unit in the Ministry of Agriculture, and with me is Mr. Lucious Alexander. Mr. Alexander, I know that the unit has received quite a lot of input to assist the farmers in the control of the Black Sigatoka disease and also fertilizer to ensure that production, is maximized. Can you take us through that process?
Well, the project has been well supported by the government of St. Lucia through the Ministry of Agriculture and with some other donors, but in particular the Republic of China and Taiwan has inputted quite a lot of resources into the project. But otherwise, our program really entails as I say, the revitalizing of production, because production has gone very low. Since, as I said, there was a constant trend downwards already from the market environment, but then we had the Black Sigatoka, and then we had Hurricane Thomas, which brought us to our lowest production ever. And so our role primarily was to get production back up in terms of quantity and quality. Also, we were faced with the Black Sigatoka scourge, and it is a very significant problem because we had the yellow Sigatoka before, and it was giving us problems, and we used to struggle. But now the Black Sigatoka is more virulent, it is more dangerous, it is more fast. It would take less time to decimate the farm and the plants. So we have had to concentrate on that also. Also, we had to be advising farmers and giving technical advisory assistance in teaching them how to produce the crop profitably, and in particular, how to manage the Black Sigatoka properly. And also, we have to deal with industry matters, because the industry is not made up of the farmers. They are the intermediary market chain people, the suppliers, the buyers, and the other people who come into the system to make it run. So we have to collaborate, especially to make sure inputs are there on time, and also to make sure that when the fruits are produced, there is a viable market and they could be collected and sent all over. Also, we need to be collaborating with other agricultural institutions like CARDI, FAO, ICA, and even the CIRA, the French agency, in doing research and bringing in the research component into the industry, because as you could understand, with the threat of the Black Sigatoka, farms or plants that do not have access to treatment would eventually die off. So if you usually would have a little plant in your backyard, or banana, or your little backyard garden, and you not have some kind of treatment to give to your plant, after a time it might just disappear because it would die and the disease would attack it to the extent that you not even get a bunch. And if you get a bunch, it might ripe prematurely on the plant before you could harvest it, and birds and lizards and bats would enjoy it more than you enjoy it. So you'd have to put this kind of measures in place to preserve the sustenance of the industry and of the farmers' plots.
I know there were some challenges in terms of regularization of inputs, getting your spray oil on time. Were you all able to, at this juncture, able to control that, and so it's now back on the level, so you get your inputs on time, the farmers are satisfied?
Well, we could call that a perennial problem. It occurs for different reasons at different times. Sometime last year we had a problem mainly because of bad weather, and the container, the ship could not come in St. Lucia during that time. And during that few weeks that this occurred, it had a very serious impact on the farms and the plantations. Also, there are situations where the organization responsible for procuring these oils and fungicides do not have finances. And as a matter of fact, the government, since a few years ago, have been subsidizing the oil and fungicide used by the farmers by about 50%. So the farmers are actually paying half of the oil and the fungicides which are used right now to control. Without that input, a lot of farmers would have given up a long time ago, because this is a key input into an industry, and if you cannot afford that, it would be very difficult for you to continue. And as you know, Black Sigatoka control is not only the application of pesticides, it involves inputs into the vitality and the growth of the plant. So the plant has to be strong enough and grow faster than the infection rate of the disease. So you'd have to have fertilizer, you'd have to have good soil conditions, irrigation, and all the other inputs that would enable you to get that good production.
I know CIRAD has been giving us some technical assistance as far as various varieties that are tolerant to the Black Sigatoka. At this point, can you give us an update on that as to, you know, which of those varieties you have been tolerant and probably can be given to the farmers to produce on a commercial basis? Well,
CIRAD has come in very early since we had Black Sigatoka in contributing to the definitive identification of the disease in the first instance. They have also offered us a lot of inputs, especially in human resource development. They have offered training courses. I have benefited from a few training courses where I'm able to both by pathological and DNA techniques to identify the disease, and also different management techniques. CIRAD themselves have been doing a lot of research all over the world on bananas, and they have been doing research on resistant varieties, or more or less tolerant, because I do not think they have been able to get a banana variety which has been 100% resistant. So you would get it about 70, 80, 90%. So after the plant has thrown a bunch, then you might get some little incidents of Black Sigatoka. But while it's growing, you will not see that heavy incidence of Black Sigatoka. But we have been doing an investigative project with them, with some varieties derived from Florban. Florban is the name of the agency producing these plants. And we're given 4 of the varieties to see how they could adapt to St. Lucia and the acceptability as far as taste is concerned. The plants survived well enough on our plots. We have 2 plots, one at Roseau and one at Cul-de-sac.
Hold that thought, we're due for a break. You're watching Agriculture on the Move. We're due for a break. Stay tuned.
Do you know what a GMO is?
It's genetically modified organism.
It's a genetically modified organism.
That's absolutely right. A GMO is a plant or animal organism which contains genes taken from a different plant or animal to create a set of desired characteristics. For example, a gene taken from a fish and infused in the cellular membrane of a tomato to create a frost-resistant tomato. The technology is designed to improve the quality of agricultural produce for consumption, but its long-term effects are not known. Join the Ministries of Agriculture and Sustainable Development in implementing the National Biosafety Framework, aimed at providing information on GMOs and LMOs in ensuring that they are used, handled, and transported in a manner that is safe to the environment and to human health.
Welcome back to the program, Agriculture on the Move. Lucious, the 2 plots that CIRAD has given some assistance to in terms of the varieties. I know there is 1 plot in Roseau and 1 at Union. So far, what's the sort of results that you have gotten?
Well, right now we are harvesting our 2nd generation. That means our 2nd crop. So we have harvested the 1st crop, and we have done some taste tests. Of the 4 varieties, about 2 of them received very favorable responses. The other 2 were, how I'd call it, they have a feature of like what we call a macabou, or a little more plantainy than a banana taste. But as you know, there are various varieties of bananas, and these bananas are used for different uses. There's a special banana in Africa they use just for beer making.
Okay.
So we would probably have to find what would be the most appropriate use for each of these different varieties, because we are already accustomed with our Valerie Cavendish type sweet banana. If something is anything different from that, we're very skeptical.
That's correct.
So we might have to learn and get to be accustomed with different tastes. But the experiments are going very well. We were hoping to make another presentation during our Independence proposed exhibition again, but we are preparing for the next opportunity we get to make sure that the public gets a little idea of the varieties and the taste. We are also working with Rahan Meristems on a new variety of banana. Rahan Meristems is a laboratory in Israel, which is the main agency which produces many or does research in banana varieties and development. Okay. So they have worked along with the Ministry of Agriculture, and they have offered us a new plant called Adi. It is not resistant to Black Sigatoka, but it has certain features, like it is supposed to be more productive, it is supposed to have a bigger bunch, it is also shorter and steadier, so that it could be easily adaptable on hillsides. Okay. And harvesting would be easier. You don't have to go on a long ladder and do your cultural practices and this kind of stuff. So it has certain advantages, and it has some level of resistance to pests, especially nematodes, and a certain level of tolerance to Black Sigatoka, but I would not call it any level of resistance. But because of its capacity to develop very fast, it could tolerate a certain level of infection before the level reaches critical. Okay. So these bananas, again, we are about to establish them at Kadi, and probably a small plot at Union again, to see if we could introduce it into our industry, because one of the problems we have in the industry is productivity. Our production quality is very low as far as the quantity. Farmers produce very small bunches, and they might need about 2 or 1.5 bunches just to make a box. And this is not very economical or profitable.
But where is the level of production now, say, per acre? I know in times past you were talking about 15 to 20 tons. I mean, in model farms, we did about 30 tons to the acre. Where we are now, and why is it that we are not able to be at an optimum level?
Well, we have been producing less than 10 tons per acre for quite a while, on an average. But there are farms and areas which go beyond 12 and 15, and even to 20. You might get 1 or 2 farmers who could show you that they are producing at that level. And again, it would be the more technically sound and business-minded and farmers, because you'd have to be you'd have to have a holistic approach. It's not, because a lot of farmers feel once they spray that oil mix, they do not have to do anything again. Yeah. It's true you could control the disease, but the plant might stop growing if it doesn't have nutrients, if it doesn't have water, if it doesn't have enough air in the soil, if the drainage is not good enough, if it has other pests and disease affecting like nematodes, borers, thrips, whatever. So you need to, apart from getting rid of the pest or the disease itself, get your plant in a very healthy condition so it will produce in the least time possible, because if it is not healthy, it will take more time to produce the bunch, and the bunch will be smaller. And so if you have to calculate the amount of money you spend on that one tree, you might find it might be a waste of resources to continue.
Where you are now with the program? I mean, 2013 is gone. I suppose farmers were sort of satisfied to what their accomplishment was. Forward.
Well, since last year, we have been fairly successful in controlling the disease. We have been able to stabilize the flow of inputs, and we have been able to do the monitoring. We have our technical officers on the field doing the monitoring and giving the technical advice to the farmers. And then these farmers are able to produce the amount to a certain level of production. But since the trough, we have seen a decline again into the production, and we are facing more similar problems like we had in Thomas. So again, we're trying to start from scratch and get back farms into rehabilitate the farms which have been affected. As you know, we did not have a lot of wind, we did not have much toppling, but we had a lot of water, flooding, and some landslides and landslips. And our damage was about 30 to 40% direct damage. And but with the impact of the damage to the drains and the waterlogging, if these issues are not addressed, it would have a bigger impact, overall impact on the industry. Probably you could count at least 60, 70, 80% damage at the end of the day if these things are not done. Right. Also, you know that road infrastructure has been damaged. Up to now, there are farmers who cannot go on their farm or who cannot remove fruit from their farm because the roads are inaccessible. So we have been doing some kind of adjustment to our program in trying to channel resources into that aspect of the program in helping the farmers. For example, in the Roseau region, there are some serious drainage problems. It is not on-farm drainage on the farmer's farm, but off-farm, the main drains and the other drains who are responsible for taking out all that bulk of water out of the area, which the farmers on their own cannot do. So I suspect the government in some way and our project would assist in that kind of assessment and improvement. Also, the collaboration with the Republic of China and Taiwan has promised us some varieties also. Also plantain, we are also concentrating on plantain. And also, even on livestock, we are hoping to make a contribution, especially to small stock. As you know, we have this abattoir, and the amount of livestock to service that abattoir might be limited if we do not keep up the input of new breeds and new lines and the whole population.
So there's a measure of diversification.
Yeah, yes. So we into a diversification mode in bananas and out of bananas. So the farmers who, let's say they are on marginal lands or on unproductive lands, we could offer or advise them other options, enterprises. While those are in the best lands and capable of producing, we're going to prop them up as much as we can to see how far they could go with the production of the plant. But also we're doing some capacity building in training because we have some Taiwanese experts coming down later in the year, and they'll be there for probably a couple of months doing training of officers, farmers, and technical people, and meetings with the stakeholders. And I think that would be a very critical input into the project, and it would give it a new directive as far as banana production is concerned.
Well, Mr. Alexander, I just want to say thank you to you all. I think you all have done pretty well in the challenging times, financial and other. Say again, thanks to the government of Taiwan for such, because they have come in from time to time. And in fact, just about 2 weeks ago, there was a check handing over ceremony where they gave some funds to, of course, to Black Sigatoka and other agricultural activities. So I wish you all success in this year's program, and I hope the farmers themselves will be satisfied, and of course production will be increased. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you. We look forward to your continued support.
Thanks again. You have been watching Agriculture on the Move. I wish to thank you for viewing, and of course you the farmers out there continue to produce. Before I leave, I just want to say, eat fresh, St. Lucia's best. I am Phillip Sydney saying goodbye.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole en mouvement.